And good afternoon. Welcome to another special edition of the Xbox Factor podcast. Yes, I am one of your hosts, Mr. Boomstick XL, and this is probably my third or fourth podcast in the last couple of days, and I'm still alive to talk about it. With me, as always, my co-host with the co-most. You know him as being the bravest gamer this side of Texas, someone that is chomping at the bit to download the Resident Evil 3 demo that will be going live on the 19th of this month. Please welcome Zemi Games.
Well, I don't know about Resident Evil 3, but I am actually very much looking forward to that Resident Evil Revelations, because multiplayer, you and me, we definitely have to hop
team
into that
up
game
for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, we'll be together trying to survive in a corner somewhere, and you won't be chasing me down, with like a knife and a fork or something. I don't know. But yeah, super excited to be here. Cannot wait to jump into these amazing topics that you set up for us, man.
Well, thanks for being here. I know I've been overworking you. So you were here last Friday. Obviously, you were here yesterday afternoon. You're back here again. We're doing it live once again on Thursday. So yes, you will be getting the very rare and unique 3 episodes of the Xbox Factor podcast in 1 week. And of course, like Zemi and I had discussed publicly on the shows, this is our way of trying to ease the anxiety that the community has over the current world situations, which, of course, people are expecting they're going to get a little bit more tougher before they get under control. But rest assured, the world's minds are working on a cure, and I think that after it's all said and done, we are all going to be fine. But of course, I want to open up the show with another, the human element for me personally is ultra important. And when you're talking about Xbox and you're talking about the human element, at least for me, I think of Phil Spencer. And, some people say, well, just a second, Boom, what do you mean? Well, I mean, obviously, this is a tweet regarding yesterday's big announcement about all of the specs being out there for everyone to look at and cross-reference with. And quite frankly, I think it's safe to say calling the Xbox Series X the Tower of Power it is a correct sentiment, but it's actually not this tweet that I want to talk about. Now, look, I'll say this right now: the world as we know it is currently a scary place, and there is a lot going on to some degree that is out of our control. The current situation will eventually get sorted out, and life as we know it will return to normalcy. Now, with that said, I want to bring up the conversation back to the hobby that we all know and love. And of course, that is Xbox and of course, gaming. And as we all know, I have a tremendous amount of respect and admiration for Phil Spencer. As I've said numerous times on this very show, his promotion in 2017 was the shot in the arm the brand needed. And though it's taken some time to get here, the Xbox community has seen the direction go upward, and we're all excited to see what he brings with his ideologies and passion in the next generation. But I want to grab your attention to a tweet that he sent out 2 days ago. Actually, it's now 3 days ago. And this is where the very human thing that that he had to say. Not only is it extremely encouraging for someone who uses social media during the day, but it's something nice to hear, especially if you are, of course, like I said, a little anxious with everything that's going on. And here's what he had to say on Twitter. It's and actually, let me kind of just rewind this for a second. He was responding to the official Xbox Twitter account who had tweeted out something to say, and it was very simple but impactful in my opinion. Everyone, please stay safe and enjoy some video games this weekend. Now, again, simple message, but I think it's impactful because, like I said, gamers, we are prepared for being, locked away for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and a month, because, obviously this is a great time. I don't want to make light of the situation, but you know what? We have to have humor in life. And this is a great time, Zemi, to attack our backlogs. You know what I'm saying? If we're going to be in and we're going to be playing games, great time to, play some new games. Also, maybe shave down your backlog a bit. But it was Phil Spencer's reply to this that I kind of want to discuss. And Zemi, I want to get your opinion on. Again, not the biggest topic of today, but I think it's a human topic. And I think that during these times, more human topics need to be brought into the forefront of gaming. And this is what Phil Spencer had to say. It's heartening to hear from so many people using gaming as a way to stay connected during these tough times. Play is fundamental. Play is a fundamental human need. Proud to be part of an industry that can offer escape and fun right now. Hashtag stay safe. Now, of course, Zemi, again, is it going to is it going to be record-breaking world peace because of what Phil Spencer said? Probably not. But at the same time, this is a CEO that is head of Xbox, and he's taking the time to get out there and talk to the fans. Now, the reason why, Zemi, I bring this up, and the reason why I keep mentioning the human element, and the reason why there's credence to this particular topic is because I went back to both Nintendo's official Twitter account as well as PlayStation's. Now, I am going to admit this topic was supposed to come up yesterday, and unfortunately it did not. So if I missed it, I'll be more than happy to admit that I was wrong. But as of me writing the show notes yesterday, both Nintendo and PlayStation their heads of brands didn't do anything like this. It was business as usual. It was, games coming for the PlayStation, Resident Evil demo for PlayStation, Doom Eternal, whatever else is coming out for them. And same thing for Nintendo. Oh, guess what? Animal Crossings, get it now. You know what I'm saying? So it was business as usual for them. And again, this isn't an attack. This isn't an attack on Sony or Nintendo. This is just kind of an observation, if you will, as to why what Phil said has impactful importance. And of course, Zemi, I'm interested to hear your particular theory on this. Now, again, your opinion is your opinion. What do you think about Phil Spencer? Even though it's a simple tweet, getting out there and kind of letting people know that, yes, he's aware of the situation. He hopes that everyone is doing well, and he's happy to be a part of a community that can use gaming to escape a certain tough time that the world is currently going through.
Well, I think just to kind of start off, I think that this serves as, an amazing example once again of how Xbox's ideology has shifted and changed from their competition. And, talking about PlayStation, talking about Nintendo, that doesn't, I'm not saying anything negative, on their side. They're doing, business in the general same way they've always done business, right? And a lot of it, I think, has to come down, to Phil Spencer. He's amazingly transparent, and he's very open, and overall, he just seems like a terrific and just nice guy, right? Just his mentality online and just watching what he does. And I think that's something that a lot of CEOs could learn, about. And I'm not even going to jump into that, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
And so I think it's amazing. I mean, he truly understands the gaming community, because at the end of the day, he is a gamer. He plays games just like we do. And with the current climate that is currently going on, I think a lot of people are staying home and playing video games. And for years now, I mean, maybe even since the inception of video games, people have been using video games to escape, from the world around them. Some people have played them and it might have helped with their social anxiety. Video games have, have that ability to help, bring us out of, the terrible situations that we might, be in, or the terrible feelings that we might be having, or just give
Yes.
us a thing to do, just gives us a thing to do. Right. So, as people are unfortunately losing their jobs, or, scared out of their minds, not leaving the house, or whatever it may be, their hours are getting cut, whatever it may be, gaming is definitely going to be one of those big things that a lot of us do. We're going to have a lot more time to, to play all these games and enter into these amazing worlds. And so we're going to do that. So, overall, I think what he said was very, was very nice. It was very polite. It was very caring almost. And, once again, I think that definitely communicates, how Xbox cares about their player base. And that, once again, doesn't mean that Nintendo or PlayStation doesn't care about their fans. But for Phil to take the time out of his day to make this tweet, I think it says a lot about him as a person, and is just really a great example of how, far Xbox has actually come, that, they are the first ones that go out and tweet this message.
That's a great point. And I kind of just want to, add a little bit to what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Again, I support Nintendo. I've been a Nintendo kid since 1985, since I got my first NES for my 15th birthday from my mom and my mom and dad. And I've been a Nintendo fan. I get excited at every announcement. I don't do videos where it shows me screaming, you know what I'm saying? But I do get giddy because I'm always going to be a Nintendo kid. Sony, well, I mean, I have a tremendous history with Sony because a lot of people, I think I might have said this on the Iron Lords podcast, which I did on Sunday, which, by the way, was a 3-hour show. Oh, P.S., by the way. When the PlayStation was first announced, I wind up cashing in about 20 something, U.S. savings bonds that I was getting, because as a young police officer, my father was like, invest. And I had all these bonds. I didn't even bother opening them, and I wound up cashing them all in. And an imported PlayStation was, man, it was expensive. It was like $800, but it came with like Ridge Racer. It came with Kalik the Blood, which was a Japanese only game. I played through it. I just couldn't understand what was going on. And, it came with Battle Arena Toshinden. It came with Tekken. Of course, Ridge Racer, you know what I'm saying? So it was a big deal for me. And I've always been a huge PlayStation fan. Not my first system of choice these days, because I love the Xbox and I love the community. And the reason why I think even to this day, I kind of gravitate towards the Xbox brand and, of course, the Xbox community is because of, when you get into podcasting, you have to be, willing to get into social media. And as a 50-year-old, which I'm going to be 50, most 50-year-olds, they don't really do social media, right? They barely know how to. I'm not taking a shot at anybody, but there are a lot of older folks that don't even know how to use a computer. So you have to become. A transient of course, social media. And one of the things that I find to be the most appealing especially for the Xbox community, is how willing they are to accept you. Especially coming from a law enforcement background, it's easy to say, yeah, that guy, boom, he was a cop, so he was a dick, or he was a racist, right? You can easily say that. I've heard it a million times when I was wearing the uniform, even though people don't understand I grew up in the projects, and my brother's African American, so it completely wipes away any nonsense. But the Xbox community has always accepted everything that I have brought to the table. I find it very vindicating, to be honest with you, that I can put on a show. I mean, we're only 14 minutes and 11 seconds in, and we got almost 175 people here. I mean, obviously there are people that want to listen to what we have to say, Zemi. So hearing Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, the leader of Team Green, get out there and talk about real world issues, and that how he himself is proud to be in a business where what he is doing can help people's anxieties, even if it's for an hour, because a lot of the times, I don't know about you, Zemi, I don't know about the chat, but when I'm playing a game, I'm heavily invested. Now, I'm not going to say someone's going to come to the door and come to my front door and cut my head off. I'm not even going to know it because I'm saying that when I'm into a game, I'm into a game. So I'm enveloped. And, with gaming, because like movies and all kinds of other different types of mediums, we can escape, which is what he said. And I like that he admits that he's proud to be a part of that. And escapism is something that in a particular time in the world is ultra important, because you really can't spend too much time. As important as it is to consider how serious a situation is, which this one is. This is a world issue, and I rest assured the great minds of this world are going to figure it out, and they're working, and they're close. They're really close. But gaming is such a great way to kind of decompress. You know what I'm saying? Even though we get stressed out on certain games, especially if you're playing something like, Ori, if it's on hard, guess what? You're throwing your controller. But for the most part, I like that he got out there and jumped in front of this. But before we move on to the more fun and interesting topic than this silliness that we were talking about, is there anything that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I mean, just the quick little thing. I just kind of, as we're going back and forth talking about this, it just really kind of reminds me that, whenever people think of, gaming, we've heard, like the outside view of gaming so often from, all these different media sites and all, whatever it may be, right? And I think a lot of people really like to always focus in on the negative, right? Even still to this day, we hear about, video games causing violence in kids, and right. But I think what a lot of people fail to understand is all the good that gaming does, and how important it is for anyone to have that, that hour, that 2 hours, or that, weekend, that they, all of their problems that they have at work or whatever are not as impactful on their mind because they're running through Skyrim, killing giants or whatever it may be.
Right.
And there's a lot of positivity that comes out of gaming and playing games. And there's a lot of very, just positive things that come out of it, and it's not all negative. And I just kind of wanted to touch on that as well, because I think that that's one thing that, obviously, we as gamers, we understand this, we've probably thought about this before, but that's just one thing that I think a lot of people on the outside that don't really play games every day or don't really, understand, I guess, like the gaming culture, they just don't really understand it, all the positivity and all the benefits that gaming does provide to everyone.
That's a great point. That is a fantastic point. I want to move on to I was going to do it in order, but something popped up this morning that I think a lot of people are not paying attention to, and I think it has relevance based on what happened yesterday. But real quick, I want to catch up on some of the super chats, because our good friend, damn it, I missed it on this end. All right, hold on just 1 second. I got to find it over here. Bloody hell. Okay. I hope it's here because he said something funny. Damn it, I missed it. Okay. But any chance that you can see, Zemi, the super chat from JD Gamer?
JD Gamer.
I just had it and I just lost it, and I'm pissed.
The last one that I can see is Tempest Sun. I'll pop over to YouTube and scroll up and see if I can find it. JD Gamer. PS is ready to smack down the Xbox fans tomorrow. Now that the Xbox Series X specs are out, and this is all that they waited for. Time for the XSX Elite, LOL. And he dropped $5.
Yes, he did drop $5, and he was being very facetious with that comment regarding the announcement from Mark Cerny. You know what? Before we actually, I know this is an Xbox podcast. I'll take 2 minutes and we'll get right back into Xbox talk, so don't worry. It was brought out today on Twitter that there's going to be at 9 a.m. Pacific time, which is 12 p.m. Eastern time for us. Mark Cerny is going to unveil, I'm assuming, the specs of the PlayStation 5, or according to what the Twitter account, the official PlayStation Twitter account had to say, he's going to do a deep dive into what's going to make the PlayStation 5 be great for next generation. Listen, we've been waiting for this. Zemi, you actually said something pretty interesting while we were pre-gaming before the show went live. Do you want to reiterate on what you were saying regarding why you think that this is happening all of a sudden?
Well, I mean, obviously, Xbox just had a huge major, drop, right? I mean, like they verified and confirmed all the specs. I mean, we thought E3 was canceled, but it looked like it just came a little bit early, right?
Right.
And so I think that this is kind of might be PlayStation's way of reacting. And I guess just to kind of dive in a little bit more of, what we were talking about before, we started this show is, the wording of that tweet from PlayStation just, it kind of caught me off guard because, I think a lot of people are kind of thinking that PlayStation is going to do a full announcement and like release all the specs and what the console is going to look like and all that different stuff. But I'm very hesitant about that, man. Because, just the wording of that tweet, I don't know if you have it up that you could read it out, but
what? Let me go over to my Twitter.
Yeah.
And I will pull it up. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, keep giving your point as I try and find
you're about to read the tweet real quick, but I would imagine if PlayStation, because they've been silent for all this time so long, if PlayStation was going to bounce back and do a full release of all their specs and everything, they would say that, and they wouldn't necessarily say the very bland tweet that Boom's about to read now. From what the tweet says, it just sounds like they're going to have some hardware guy up on the stage talking about how amazing PlayStation is and how amazing their console is going to be, and just kind of like hyping it up almost instead of actually giving us specs.
Yes, here is the exact wording. This is from the official PlayStation Twitter account. It currently has nearly 75,000 likes, which is not a surprise, and 26,000 retweets. Well, of course, I'm a part of that because I'm a Sony fan as well. It says this: tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time, PS5 lead system architect Mark Cerny will provide a deep dive into the PlayStation 5's system architecture and how it will shape the future of games. So when I read that again aloud, I have to say that I kind of agree with Zemi. Now, I don't think we're going to get a reveal of what it looks like. Listen, I'm going to sit here and tell you.
I hope we do.
I really hope that we get to see what this damn thing looks like. I am so excited to know what I'm buying, hopefully in the fall. But I kind of wonder if what you're saying, Zemi, has some truth to it. I've said this publicly. I've said it on just about every show that I feel that Sony is doing themselves a tremendous disservice. But more so than them doing themselves a disservice, Zemi, I think that they're doing a disservice to us, the fans, because this being coy is a little old now. And I think that maybe the way that Microsoft has kind of been strutting their stuff, especially after yesterday's reveal, which would basically allow Digital Foundry to build the freaking thing, along with, of course, the other dude, Austin, who literally built the thing. He got a chance to play Gears. That was up and running at 4K 100 frames. They went into all the specifications. If you watch the video, and again, I want to say this, they don't need my help because Boomstick doesn't even have 4,000 subs, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. But Digital Foundry, if you watch the two guys as they're talking, only because I get like this. Like when I'm excited to talk about something, you hear it in my voice. There's a certain different boom when I have I'm excited to be here, but when there's extra excitement behind me, you hear I'm a little giddy, right? I'm a little more excitable live on the air. That's how both of them were. And what that tells me is I don't necessarily think they expected the Xbox Series X to be as powerful as it was. So getting back to this, Zemi, I agree with you. I don't necessarily know what Mark Cerny is going to do. I am going to say, go on record and saying, I don't necessarily think he's going to be putting up a slideshow one versus the other, meaning the PS5 specs versus the Xbox One Series X specs. I don't think that I've actually said this publicly, and I want to get a free Sunday if I'm right on this. And if somebody send me a Sunday, I think he's going to put the specs up against the PlayStation 4 Pro and say, "Hey, look, this is what we had. This is what you guys currently have, but look, this is what you have now." And I'm not saying that's not impressive. 1.8 teraflops for the Pro versus if it winds up being 9.2 and it's looking more and more that's what it's going to be. That's still a 4-time jump, maybe even more. Maybe it's closer to 5 times. So it is a big deal. It is, folks. It is a big deal. So that's what I think he's going to do tomorrow. Anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of like what you just said. Like I want Sony to announce and show off what the PS5 is going to look like, and I want to see that graph up on the screen, specifically showing how many teraflops the GPU is going to have. What does the CPU look like? How big's their SSD?
Yes.
I want to see all of that information. I 110% do, but then again, with the wording of that tweet, it could have just been a PR guy on having a bad day, right? But it just doesn't sound like a tweet that they would put out after all of this anticipation and after, millions of Sony fans have been waiting. I would imagine they would, put out like, we're going to do a full announcement of the PS5. We're going to be showing off the specs. We're going to be, giving you guys a glimpse of what the console looks like. They're going to try to hype it up on Twitter. That way, it blows up Twitter. Like, I would imagine that would be the announcement that they would put in a tweet, not exactly what they said. And so because of that, because of the wording of the tweet, it just kind of has me thinking that this is Sony's way of reacting to what Xbox did with Digital Foundry, and they're not necessarily even ready to maybe give all of the information that we as players want to know.
Well, it's a good theory. Real quick, I have to respond to some of these super chats before we get on to, of course, the breaking news that no one is talking about. And I'm gonna break down why that is. Tempest Sun, good friend of mine. I talk to him almost on a daily basis, personally, not just through DMs. We actually talk live on the phone. We're very good friends. He drops a $2 super chat and says this, and it's funny. Boom is the T800 confirmed. 3 podcasts in 2 days. So here's the schedule for the rest of the week. And this is what I've done so far. Sunday, I was on ILP for 3 hours. Monday, I did the special stream at noon. Then at night, I did Primetime Gaming, which, of course, was last night. Great effing show. I'm doing today's special, special stream as promised, as I promised. And tomorrow is interesting. Because tomorrow I'm very honored to announce that I'm going to be a guest at noon on the Work to Game Twitch stream, and we're going to be reacting to what Cerny is talking about live. Right, you're going to get our live reaction, and then following that stream, I'm going to be doing an hour stream from 1 to 2 on my reaction, and we're going to be breaking down everything. So 2 shows tomorrow, one of which have Worked the Game, which I cannot wait to work with those guys. They're awesome. And thankfully, those guys are not only going to work with me on their show, they're going to come on over to the special PlayStation event that we're going to be doing from 1 to 2. Thursday, we're doing the Xbox Factor podcast at noon. And then Friday morning, we're going to stop this ship with, of course, Breakfast with Boom. So it's the first time, I think, in my podcasting career that I have done, is it 7 or 8 shows in a week. And I'm not tired. I mean, I've been, I'm drinking a lot of water. I'm staying, I'm doing what I have to do to keep healthy. I love this shit, man. I could do this all day long. As a matter of fact, if there is someone out there that wants to invest in Boom, you want to do some investment, let's get this into a studio where I can do this 5 days a week and do a real morning show, because there's no real gaming morning shows. So if you're an entrepreneur with some money and you want to take a chance on someone, hit me up in the DM. We'll talk business. I'm not even expensive. I'm a cheapo. So just just come on over. But let me catch up with these super chats. Eagles fan 76 drops a $2 super chat. Thank you so much. He says Ori's visuals Visual colors and music are peaceful. Yeah, dude, it is tranquil for sure. I'm really enjoying that. JD Gamer drops a very his first of all, his support of the channel cannot be denied, and his generosity is just leaps and bounds more than anything I think I personally deserve. He drops another $2 super chat and says, PlayStation doesn't need to do much to get attention. No, that is very true. They do have a very rabid fan base. JD, you're killing me here. Save your money, dude. He drops another $5 super chat. The deep dive is an audible, like this is how we share. Oh my God, I hope not. This is how we share video. So we have to ask, why are they responding so fast after being so silent? That's a great question. And once again, JD Gamer, his generosity completely overwhelms me. He drops another $2 super chat and says, I don't think the PS5 is 9.2 teraflops. What do I think? Look, here's the thing. Before we get on to the next topic, I don't know what the heck the PlayStation 5 is. Do I think it's higher than 12 teraflops? I certainly do not. And the reason why that isn't because Sony's cheap or they took the cheap way out. I don't necessarily. I think that when they were designing this thing, and Cerny's a brilliant man. Mark Cerny is a very brilliant man who is a genius and very, very, very interesting to listen to because of how he speaks. I think that when you look at what's currently available in the 1.8 teraflops for the PlayStation 4 Pro, versus the hypothetically 9.2 teraflops, it is a tremendous upswing for Sony in regards to power. So it's okay, yeah, 12 teraflops versus 9. Everyone is going to be, oh, it's 3 more, so it's better. Yes. Is the Xbox Series X more powerful? Yes. Are they using DirectX that Sony isn't? Yes. Is the ray tracing hardware based through the use of DirectX that Sony doesn't have? Yes, that is true as well. Do they have expandable storage? Well, shit, I don't know, but I think Microsoft really kind of drew a line in the sand. I think that this response by Mark Cerny and of course Sony is, I think they kind of back themselves into a corner. And I'm not saying that they're not going to surprise us tomorrow, because I really don't know what to expect. They've been so quiet. It's hard to say. But because Sony has been so in your face this entire generation with just about everything that they do, I find it very odd that once the 12 teraflops thing was announced, Sony didn't say boo. They didn't even. If they would have had the 13.3 teraflops that these so-called insiders on Reddit and all these other ridiculous sites have been talking about, don't you think they would have come out and be like, "Yes, we're still big man on campus, little Xbox. We have 13.3. Suck it." They didn't. They didn't say anything. So I think that, Zemi, what you said, there's a lot of credence behind that, because I think that they're kind of forced into doing something at this point. What are your thoughts? Anything you'd like to add before we move on to, of course, the next topic?
What, on like the whole teraflop,
well, no, just why Sony is doing this event.
I mean, obviously, I think it is like the reason why they're doing this event all around 100%, in my opinion, is because it's completely to react to what I believe Xbox just did, with giving all that information to Digital Foundry. I mean, literally, that was E3 came early.
That's what I said, and that's exactly what I said when the news first dropped. I said, "Oh, E3 2020 just happened."
Yeah, I mean, once again, we thought it'd been canceled, but no, it just came early. So I think it's completely them reacting to that. So will they show off what the PlayStation 5 looks like? I don't know. I mean, maybe. Will they give us all the specs? I don't know. Hopefully. But just kind of following what the wording of the tweet, I don't really think so. But I mean, ultimately, I just kind of wanted to touch on like the teraflop, kind of issue.
Please listen. This conversational podcast, go crazy.
Like I've noticed like all of this, like these last 3, months or so, like, people, keep talking about the power narrative and all this different stuff. And well, Xbox has 12 teraflops and PlayStation has like 9 point whatever, right? And I think ultimately at the end of the day, I don't think it really is going to matter that much. Because the games, even if Sony has 3 less teraflops, the games on that PlayStation are still going to look fantastic to the people.
Sure, they are. That's a great point. That's a great point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me personally, I think it's completely regardless of how many teraflops, one has versus the other. So long as the games look absolutely just mind-blowing and amazing. And usually whenever these new consoles come out, they always look fantastic, right? And I think that that's really all that matters. So,
Well, listen, again, I love your opinion. I think that there's a lot of validity behind what you have to say. I think you're being very honest, and I absolutely agree with you. And who would have thought, who would have thunk it, if you will, that we'd have taken, I don't know, I'm doing the math here, 16 minutes on a PlayStation topic on the Xbox Factor podcast. Boo this man. I'm talking, of course, to myself, for shame on me. But you know what? Let's talk about the AMD group situation that came out that no one is talking about. Okay, so basically, the AMD group put out a post today. It was like a blog post, kind of like what Phil Spencer does when he wants to talk about something. Now, I got to be honest with you. I thought it was Phil Spencer until I read who it was coming from. And, of course, it is breaking news regarding the Xbox Series X. And what I want to talk about that I don't think anyone has really has either noticed or not. They're just, I think they glanced over it. Now, if you want, you can go into the show notes once the show is done, or maybe even check it out now. And I have a link to the blog post, and it's directly from the AMD group. And the gentleman that posted it, his name is Sebastian Nussbaum. And he works directly with the AMD group, as I said a second ago. And this is what he had to say. I want to read verbatim so there's no misinterpreting my theory here. He says, I'm excited to share some details that Microsoft announced today regarding the Xbox Series X and how it's built upon the partnership that we have with the team at AMD. Together, we have relentlessly pushed the innovation boundaries of gaming devices for the last 15 years. Today, AMD and Microsoft are excited to announce more details on the Xbox Series X, which will deliver an incredible and an immersive gaming experience, including the next generation of performance, graphics, lighting, visuals, and audio technologies. AMD and Microsoft worked together for several years to design and optimize every aspect of the Xbox Series X on a chip, which is, of course, abbreviated as the SoC. The goal was to deliver the to deliver a design that's generational, that has a generational performance and broad experience uplift with innovation throughout silicon, system, and hardware. The Xbox Series X is the biggest generational leap of SoC and API design that we've ever done with Microsoft. And it is an honor for AMD to partner with Microsoft for this endeavor. The Xbox Series X is going to be a beacon of technical innovation leadership for the console generation and will propagate the innovation throughout the DirectX ecosystem this year into the next. It is a privilege to be a Microsoft trusted partner, and we look forward to the successful launch this holiday season. It's that last sentence that just gave me goosebumps on the back of my neck, and here's why, folks. Okay, here's why. There has been a lot of video. There's been a lot of written articles As a matter of fact, I have a whole topic that was supposed to be. I mean, I had written an original show for last night's primetime gaming, and because of the Microsoft news, I scrapped it. Now, I didn't throw it away or anything because I spent quite a few hours writing this thing, and I'm more than likely going to at least use some of it for the one of the upcoming shows. More than likely it's going to be used for Breakfast at Boom. Oh my god, I forgot my own show. That's embarrassing. But it's with all of these articles, there are a lot of people that are speculating because of the current world situation that one or both consoles are going to be delayed. This was just published. This was put up this morning today. So we have to take into account the relevance behind that. He's saying publicly, it's a privilege to be a Microsoft trusted partner, and we look forward to a successful launch this holiday season. Now, that is a big deal. Hold on just a second. Hold on. I don't like doing this. There's a guy, Painted Gamer, in the chat. Look, dude. I've seen about 15 of your posts already, and I'm not going to ban you or block you. I'm not going to be a dick about it. But I got to be honest with you. If you're a PlayStation guy or gal, you are welcome here. Come over here. I'll give you a hug. I'll give you a virtual hug because, we can't be, social distancing and all. I'll give you a virtual hug. You're welcome here. But come on, for the love of Christ, the console war stuff, man, it's so effing old. It's so juvenile. It's so yesterday. Just hang out, throw a couple of opinions up there, sit back, put your feet up, play a game. If it's the PlayStation you're playing on, man, that's awesome. I got one too. I probably have more games than you. You know what I'm saying? So who's the bigger PlayStation? Are we going to start measuring stuff? Because you know what I'm saying? It's silly. So hang out, stop trolling, man. And listen, I don't want to ban you, but if you start poking at my community, I'm going to have to be the sheriff. You know what I'm saying? I don't like banning people. I don't like muting people. I think everyone's opinion is important. But come on, man. Seriously, don't be that guy or gal. Just come and hang out, enjoy the banter, have some fun during some difficult times, and just chill. So getting back to what I was saying, Zemi, and I apologize for crash piling up this the show. I don't like normally doing that, but I don't like to see that. This is a very, very good community that comes out. We have 500 people. Zemi, we have 500 people.
Wait, we have 500 people.
500 people. 509 people watching right now, which awesome. Is bananas.
Mom,
and I don't even have. No. Yeah, this is crazy. So listen, I want to kind of speculate on this, and of course, if I'm wrong for speculating on what this man is saying, then I'll be the first one to get out there and say, you know what, Boom is a dick. He got it wrong. No problem, right? But again, this is the reason why it's relevant. The reason why I think that there's it's worth talking about is simply because it was just posted. And in a time where cafes and bars are closing, movie theaters are closing, we have malls being closed, we have stores only being open up from, shopping, like food shopping places from 7 to 7 so they can restock the shelves. Mm-hmm. We have to understand we're living in a different world, but to hear that, yes, we look forward to having a successful launch this holiday season gets me hyped, because that means that Microsoft was very forward thinking, and so was AMD. Maybe they got a wind of this before it got bad and they were working on it. And I'm not saying that there's a case of Xbox One Series X is hanging out in someone's garage. I'm saying that if that means that they are prepared. Do you agree with me, or do you have a different theory, Zemi?
So I mean, ultimately, I think that we will see the Xbox Series X and hopefully the Series S, if that turns out to be true and gets announced. Hopefully, I do think that we will see both of those drop, this holiday season.
Dude, I really hope so. My money is burning a hole in my pocket.
Now, but with that being said, this article from AMD saying that, it's going to come out this holiday, we're still a lot of months out from its release date. There's still a lot of things that could happen. I'm sure as of right now, Xbox is planning to push it out for holiday. But things could rapidly change and it could be pushed back. You know what I mean? Things can always change. But
of course,
I would say if any company out there is going to be able to, get their product out there on time, I think it's going to be Xbox, because they have the amount of money to fix the problem, right? I was saying this to you before the show once again.
Yes. Please say what you said.
Well, I don't know if I could say it the same way, but if you have a problem, throwing a butt ton of money at it can always solve it, typically, right? And Microsoft, they have a lot of money to throw at their problems if that's what they wanted to do, right? So I think if any company is going to be able to get their console out this holiday, it's definitely going to be Xbox. PlayStation, I think that they will get their console out this holiday as well. But if there was going to be any company that you were going to question it, I think it would be Sony. But regardless, I think both companies are going to get their products out this year. And it's good to hear that, because there is a lot of, there has been a lot of people kind of questioning this these last few weeks of, if this generation is not going to be pushed back for another year. And it's good to hear, those specific words this holiday from AMD,
yes,
because, it reassures everyone that at this moment, as it stands right now, Xbox is still planning to push their console out, this year.
Well, first of all, what you're saying is amazing. It makes a lot of sense, and I agree with you. This is not saying that Sony can't do it or will not do
Absolutely
it.
not.
I pray that they do, because damn.
Well, I want a PlayStation 5 this year.
Yeah, me too. Like I really want a PlayStation 5 this year. I really want an Xbox Series X. But we have to welcome to the show the man known as the Caped Crusader, who hides in phone booths just waiting for the call. Dreadpool, welcome to the show, dude.
Oh, thank you. Sorry it took me so long to get home. It's just unexpected traveling.
Listen, dude, you're here. We're talking games. As a matter of fact, you come in at the end of a topic, so I'm gonna kind of bring this back around. AMD Group, a gentleman by the name of Sebastian Nussbaum, put out a blog post, and in the blog post, he talked about how they're excited to share some details about Microsoft, what Microsoft announced today, and of course, this isn't the entire article. There is a lot of like spec talk, which is why I linked it in the show notes. So if you're interested, just get over there, hit the link, and you'll go right to it. And you can read the blog post from literally from the AMD Group. But what's interesting and why I brought this up as a topic, Dreadpool, and I'm interested to get your opinion, is that this is what the end paragraph says. It says the Xbox Series X is the biggest generational leap of SoC and API design that we've done with Microsoft. It's an honor for AMD to partner with Microsoft in this endeavor. The Xbox Series X is going to be a beacon of technical innovation leadership for this console generation, and will propagate the innovation throughout the DirectX ecosystem this year and into the next. It is a privilege to be a Microsoft trusted partner, and we look forward to the successful launch this holiday season. And it's that last sentence that got my boxers all in a bunch, because that confirms. And again, Zemi did say it. From now to then, something horrendous could happen, and it could completely change. But being that this was just posted, being AMD is of course the chip maker for the Xbox Series X, hearing that last sentence gets me excited, because that means that they are prepared for the launch, regardless of current world situations. Is there something you'd like to add to this? What is your opinion regarding that last sentence?
I mean, you guys already covered everything. The way I'm looking at it is they are definitely prepared, even with the economy going, well, not the economy, but the situation that we have going on right now, that they're ready to push out these consoles. It seems like everything is basically ready to rock and roll, and it's not just the Xbox. It's also, obviously, we'll find out tomorrow. But I'd assume the PlayStation 5 too, because if their factories are ready to rock and roll with these chips, I'd assume it's not just one company's chips.
Yeah,
you know?
no, I would agree with you. That's a great point.
And for the generational leap, I mean, it's amazing. I'm still trying to gather all the information and process it. You know, I was at work, and then I'm, going home listening to your show yesterday, and I was like, what's going on here? Like, why is there a show right now? So, getting all this, and then last night with only a couple hours sleep yesterday afternoon, and then working all night, I've been trying to catch up to everybody's, little tidbits and trying to read into it and, gather. There's a lot of information out there. I still have a lot of questions, but what it looks like to me is they did do a big generational leap. It's not just verbiage that they're using as a marketing tool or anything like that. The stuff that they've put together at the time, it's been over 4 years that they've been working on this. So at the time was unfathomable. You can't imagine them saying something like this. The stuff that they're using the NVMe that they're using is a 4.0. Right now, you have the 3.0 that's commonly available.
Right.
There's only a couple motherboards on the PC side that can actually handle the 4.0, and it's NVIDIA's architecture. So they're the only ones that can handle 4.0 chips. And you know what the PC market said? Don't worry about it. It's not that much of a leap. Wait till 5.0. So you see where this it's like, wait a second, if it's not, I mean, and I'm looking at the numbers too. So I'm looking at the numbers. Number wise, yeah, the leap from the NVMe 3.0 to 2.0, it's not that much of a leap. It's still a huge leap compared to where we're at now with the Xbox One X. It's a huge leap. So yeah, I mean, this is the minds that put this stuff together, and I'm sure Sony's got the same stuff with Mark Cerny. They've got their, secret sauce. Let's put it out there like that. That's their common theme. I'm still, like I said, I'm still trying to catch up with everything that they've put together and piece it together. This is my stuff. I love tech, so getting all this information is, I'm still jonesing on it, and it's still absorbing all this information. So I'm excited for this.
Well, listen, I have to say this. First of all, I want to just catch up on some of the super chats, but I just want to make the announcement that I want to welcome in the 656 people that tuned in. Listen, this is a very small show. These kind of numbers, I don't expect anything. I am absolutely so humbled to think that people would find the time in their day to take, to come and hang out and listen. So if you're here, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Let me just catch up on some of the super chats. Eagle Fan 76, dude, thank you for being here and super appreciate your generosity. He says he hopes that the PlayStation is a full specs reveal, not a mindshare stunt. Man, I'm going to be so disappointed if I don't get to see what this damn thing looks like tomorrow. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be very disappointed. Let's see. Okay. Platnog1 drops a $2 super chat. Thank you for being here, my friend. And also your generosity. He says, thank you. And I say, thank you. And that is okay. So we are officially all caught up now. kind of want to move on, if you don't mind, gentlemen, to the next topic. And this one is a spicy burrito. So get ready. Get your antacids ready. Okay. Now, No one has been talking about this. And I'm depressed, but also excited because Playground Games is not only hard at work at Forza Horizon 5. And of course, Zemi, you'll laugh at this, the world's worst kept secret in the Fable reboot. But according to new information, they have officially started hiring for a third project. Now, this gives me goosebumps of excitement because, quite frankly, look, Playground Games, as you know, is a developer that was one of the big four that were recently added to Xbox Game Studios to their roster during the 2018 onslaught that we saw at E3. There are many great reasons you, as an Xbox gamer, should be happy about this particular situation. One, Playground Games is a first-party studio. Two, they are look. The easy answer, very simply, is, and I don't think it's even questionable, and I think I can fairly say that it's undeniable. The quality that we get with every Forza Horizon has been nothing short of masterful. Now, to be fair, my personal favorite as of today's show, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon, is Forza Horizon 3. And that's because I really spent a lot of time playing that game. But of course, it came down to both DLCs. Now, as great and memorable and child shaking for me personally, driving around on the Hot Wheels tracks, because that's awesome. That was so much fun. I still just like putting it on and just riding around the tracks, the big orange tracks that you're riding around. What's not to get excited about? But it was the Snow Mountain, because I'm a big winter kid. I've always been. That's why I'm disappointed. New York sucked this year when it came to snow. So I was so disappointed. I gotta have to move to a snowy state. I'm sorry. This is terrible. So those two particular DLCs really got me excited. But getting back to on topic. In what many in the Xbox community consider the worst kept secret, of course, in the entire world, which I mentioned a few minutes ago, Zemi, is that we believe Playground Games is hard at work at the Fable reboot. Now, if it is Fable, which I believe it is, you believe it is, the community believes it is going to be an epic romp. Because, listen, how I'm taking this, and again, I have to bring PlayStation, I have to pull them back into the conversation for a second. If you look at Guerrilla Games, this is a team that only made Killzone, and I bought every one of them. I never finished any of them. I got the collector's edition in storage. I enjoyed the franchise, but the reality is it wasn't that great of a first-person shooter. It was okay. And then they released Horizon Zero Dawn, one of my favorite PlayStation 4 games of this generation. As a matter of fact, it's probably, without a doubt, it's in my top 5 games of this entire generation. I love Aloy. I love the world. I love her story. I love everything about the character, right? So they transitioned with that team, which we didn't know they had this kind of talent, and made Horizon Zero Dawn. And obviously, Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is around the corner. When that is, I don't know, but all I know is I'm going to have to wear an extra pair of underpants when that happens, because I may shit my pants when it's announced. But bringing it back to Xbox, Playground Games, as we know, are ultra talented. And you and I think a lot of people in this chat, and as well as, again, I don't want to speak for you, Dreadpool, we have faith and confidence in this AAA, some may even say quadruple A developer, because of what they've done in the past. And I have a feeling that when they announce Fable, it's going to be big. This new project, we only have one leaked art, one still of it, and I'm a boob. So when you guys are talking, I'm going to try and find it and kind of put it into my notes real quick so I can show it. But I'll give a synopsis of what it was. And again, it was just one artwork still. It was. It looked like it looked like a city that was overgrown. with like it was a city that the world had forgotten, and it was a picture of a guy. It looked to appear to be a male character with a dog, and the thing is this. A lot of people in the community, and this isn't the everyday folk that just enjoys gaming. These are the asshole trolls that we try to stay away from, right? They started immediately saying, "Oh, just a second, boom! It looks like Horizon Zero Dawn, or it looks like The Last of Us 2." Guys and gals, here's the thing. Okay, I just kind of want to throw this out there. Okay, I'm gonna throw it out there. I don't have to, but I'm gonna throw it out there. Calling Playground's new unannounced game, which only has one still of art, a copy or a bite or a rip-off of both The Last of Us 2 and Horizon Zero Dawn, is silly. The dystopian plot backdrop has been going on for generations of games. And there were games before The Last of Us 2, before The Last of Us 1. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe some people are unaware of this. But yes, there were video game systems that did. So when I saw this, Zemi, and I think I sent you the picture as well, I immediately thought I Am Legend with Will Smith. One of my favorite movies. Love that movie. But more importantly, I also compared it to Odyssey to the West. Enslaved, Odyssey to the West, that Ninja Theory did. That was a very dystopian type of backdrop as well. But for you, from what we know, which isn't much, we know that they're hiring. That's confirmed. We know that they're hiring, but they haven't made an official announcement on a third project. But this new artwork has, it surfaced. Are you excited to know that this team that's currently working on an open world RPG in the form of what we all believe to be Fable could be doing another open world single player story driven adult themed type of title?
I mean, do you even have to ask that question, Boom?
But you know what? I have to as a host. Now, wait. Before we go any further, okay, hold on just a second.
Yeah.
We just crossed 720 people. That is a new world record for the Xbox Factor podcast. That is a new world record for Double Barrel Gaming. In the history of my channel, I have never had this kind of viewage. And honestly, if you could watch me, I would be bowing to you right now, to this community that has turned out in this kind of sizable number to listen to us talk about video games. Thank you. But continue your point, Zemi.
Yeah, I mean, do you even have to ask me about that? I mean,
I do as a host. But I know the answer.
I know. But man, I love single player, adult themed, story driven, single player games, man. I love that. That is my bread and butter. Well, that's like my bread and jam. Like, my bread and butter is really an RPG. But no, I mean, absolutely. And I actually have not seen that image yet. I was scouring the internet to try to find it. And
I'm literally, I have it in hand. I'm going to bring it up. Just give me a second to work it out.
But with people looking at it, and you mentioned I Am Legend. I mean, that movie was fantastic. I love the theme of it. I love the atmosphere. It was kind of scary. I had to raise up the pillow a couple of times while I was watching it, of course. But I really did enjoy that movie. And then people relating it to Last of Us, and I'll tell you right now, like, and I've kind of said this, in a way a few times on this show. I think Xbox needs something similar to The Last of Us, to what PlayStation does. I mean,
I agree 100%.
They are masters of the exclusives. They are, in my opinion. Like, the only reason why I'm thinking about buying a PlayStation 5 this year is so I can play Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima and all the PlayStation exclusives that I've just kind of missed out on, this generation, and even during like the PlayStation 3 that I never got the chance to pick up. And Sony does so well with that, and it's because they're, a lot of the time they're very story focused, single player, adult driven, or adult themed. They're just fantastic games. And Xbox, they have the multiplayer, first party lineup. They have that solid, right?
Here's the pick. Here's the leaked artwork. Now,
Oh,
again,
man.
as you can see, there seems to be a down plane on the right, which has been overgrown, right? There's obviously some cars, there's trucks, there's a bus, there's a highway right in front of them. The person appears, again, this is just based on my theory. It appears to be male. He does have a companion in a dog. He's carrying a rifle. It looks like a 30-06 if I know my guns, and I do. And he's got a backpack, and it looks like he's walking forward.
Yeah.
Now, again, this is leaked artwork. This was put together with, of course, the hiring that they're doing. This is certainly not Fable. This is certainly put into the future. Where in the future, we don't know. I didn't get the Last of Us vibe. Because when I think of the Last of Us,
I'm getting the Last of Us vibe, man.
Okay,
and I'm liking every moment of it right now.
Listen, that's what we're here for. We're here to hear other people's opinions, and I'm glad I was able to bring this up. And I'm going to leave this up as we continue this topic. I can tell you this, Emmy. What we know about Microsoft's 15 Xbox Game Studio first-party developers is that each development house is currently working on multiple projects. Now, Colt Eastwood, a very good friend of mine, dropped an amazing video today. And he confirmed that currently the Microsoft or the Xbox Game Studio first parties are currently hard at work at 20 titles. They're working on 20 games. Now, he has a much broader insider track than I do, because he's very good friends with Dealer, and they do RDX, which is going to be going live tonight, and I cannot wait for that show. That's going to be amazing. He may know certainly more. So a lot of my talk regarding what they're doing is complete speculation, whereas Colt may actually know, which is great, which is awesome. When I see this, Emmy, when I see this kind of artwork, I have to 100% agree with you regarding your opinion on Microsoft needing not a clone.
No, I mean, I'd be perfectly happy with the Last of Us clone.
Yeah, no, you know what, dude? I got to be honest with you. So would I, but I don't think that Microsoft or Playground Games would be, because, you don't want to be just a clone. You want to be your own thing. And this is where the dog might come in. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you're going to be the dog. I mean, you could. I mean, that would actually be kind of interesting, because if you remember a couple of Call of Duties ago, there were times where you were a dog in first person, a little weird, but you could actually use like a pointing system that you find in like Apex Legends to sick the dog on people, right? Or to find stuff for you. All I can say is that from a simple picture, my mind is going crazy. What do you take? What is your take on this picture?
Well, I mean, since you popped up this picture, I haven't taken my eyes off of it, and I'm wrapping my mind around anything that I could not like about it, and I have not found that out right now. Like I love like every little aspect of it. Whenever I saw the man and the dog, like I automatically thought of like Fallout 4.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a really good one.
So maybe this game, might have some RPG elements into it. I mean, they are already working on, an RPG game. That being Fable. I mean, well, it's not confirmed, but we kind of speculate that. But I mean, honestly, anything that this is, I mean, I would imagine it's definitely a brand new IP. Which I'm very excited for. Any brand new IP coming out of Xbox first party. But just the overall theme of it just seems like like a game that I'm gonna if it wouldn't come to Xbox Game Pass day and date, I'd go and buy it day and date kind of thing. It really does.
Would you buy the collector's edition that came with a pet dog?
Oh no, yeah, I would probably buy it. No, for sure. And speaking of like The Last of Us, like I honestly, I wouldn't want it to be identical to Last of Us. I'd want them to make it, their own and make it unique for what they want to create, right? But having people refer to it as the Last of Us clone, like I would have no problem with that. I mean, because if anything, that's a compliment.
Yes, look, let me just say this. First of all, The Last of Us 2 is coming out May. I was gonna say next month. My God, I got myself excited and then let down, almost like a junkie. I am very, very excited, and the reason why that is because I can tell you right now, for the months of May, June, potentially July, because I'll probably eat up these two games. Because I when I play a game, especially one of Sony's, I mean, I'm like, nothing else matters. Like, it's the PlayStation only, and the back-to-back games that we have coming in the form of both The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima, tremendous. If you are a developer, and Playground Games, they're not a slouch. You guys say this isn't an upcoming studio. This is a studio that could potentially rub shoulders with Naughty Dog, because Naughty Dog is the creme de la creme, right? But I'm going to say this. I would like to consider Playground Games the creme de la creme as well. They are one of the top developers in that pool of top developers. And if their game comes out, whatever this is going to be called, even if this is, again, I hope this is real. I hope that this is what they're working on. And I can't wait to get some more artwork as to what they're doing. If your game gets compared to a Neil Druckmann directed Last of Us 2, pardon my French, you fucking made it. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, there are very few games that come out that just absolutely just catch my eye to the point where I just kind of like can't stop thinking about them. I'll try to go to sleep and I just keep thinking, about the game and how fun it's going to be. And I just stay up like half the night just thinking about the game. And like the last game that was for me, Cyberpunk. But whenever you see that image of that game, you kind of know, how interested you're going to be in it. And just looking at that image, I mean, it has written on it like, Zimmy, come play me, like so much right now for me. So I'm really excited just off of that one piece of concept art.
Yeah, I wish I had more. Sadly enough, I wish I had more. So Dreadpool, first of all, I want to get your opinion on this. Before I do, I have to thank James176 for the outstanding and very generous $5 super chat. And he says over 700 people stop by because they appreciate my dedication to podcasting. Well, I mean, that's awesome of you to say, dude. And you know what? As I do this for the community, and I truly do mean that, like my first thought when I went to Zemi with this was putting the community's anxieties at ease. That was one of, because whether look, I can talk about being a police officer, but a lot of you guys and gals, you don't know the dedication that I had. I grew up in the projects, and I went to Christopher Columbus High School. In the late 80s. I graduated in the late 80s, and I got back there as the youth officer in 1997. And I went back to those projects that I grew up there. I remember playing basketball and was helping out the youth of the area. So for me, it was so gratifying to go back to my old community and give back, right? So, now I'm in a position where people, I hate to say it, I get embarrassed even saying it. Like, I'm a personality on YouTube, which I get embarrassed saying because I'm just a guy that likes talking about games. Responsibility to go out of my way to provide content. That's why I'm so hard on myself and that's why I'm up so late writing so much. I'm actually writing more than I'm playing because I feel that with the kind of response, I mean, look at it. We had 840 people in the live chat today. I'm laughing because it's crazy. But I want to make sure that I put on such an amazing show that you'll want to subscribe to the channel. You'll want to tune in every time we do a show. And that's why I'm doing so much podcasting, because right now a lot of people are home. A lot of people enjoy gaming and listening to podcasting. And if I can kind of help with, curbing your anxiety, then I'm still being a cop, but not by wearing the uniform, if you know what I mean. You never really stop being a protector of the people, right? So that's what I like to consider what I'm doing now. And that's really nice of you to say, James. Really super appreciate that. But let's get back to gaming. Let's get back to why we're here. Dreadpool, this is a still image, right? and it's a still image, but you know the old saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And when you equate Playground Games that are currently working on Fable, I'm just going to say it. Fuck it. I'm just going to say they're working on Fable. We all know it. And then you hear that they're putting together a team that has recently hired, P.S. by the way, lots of ex-Naughty Dog employees to come over and work for the Xbox Game Studios, more specifically for Playground Games. Seeing this image gets me excited because, like Zemi said, the Xbox needs a Last of Us type character-driven game. This looks like we might get it. What are your thoughts on this picture?
Well, I'm going to ruffle some feathers here. I don't see a still picture here. What I'm looking at, I'm seeing life. I'm seeing a lot of stuff going on. My mind is actually creating stuff going on in the background, what the possibilities are. I still see this as Fable, a modern day post-apocalyptic Fable.
Please don't say that. Please do not say that they're changing.
I'm not saying it's
kind of
Fable.
Getting like an RPG, almost
I'm
like post-apocalyptic Fallout kind of vibe.
I'm saying in the style. I'm not saying it's Fable. There's no way it's going to be Fable. Fable needs to be Fable. This is not Fable. But
yes.
I do see the similarities. You have a weapon, you have a dog, and you're walking around. So there's a lot of stuff going on. There's, just like we said before, there's a lot of similarities to Last of Us. All these games that are they all derive off of each other. All right. If it wasn't for this game, we wouldn't have the game we have now. It's just like music. Everything pretty much from R&B to today's metal and country and all that, it all stemmed from something. So just the same with this. We have all these creators going into a new studio from an older studio. So you don't think they're going to bring their knowledge, their passion with them and just leave it with the old company? No, they're going to bring what they know and what they're passionate about and try to put it into something new. So we want something new. We don't want the same old, but right. I still want Fable. And it does have
I think Phil Spencer, I think, all of the people that are in charge, that have a prominent position in Microsoft, including Playground Games, knows that we all are dying for a new Fable. And I think that there's a lot of relevance to what Phil said in a recent interview where they were saying that we're going to be bringing back a lot of, older back catalog stuff that should get a lot of people excited. So again, he didn't have to say that. We've all been thinking that Fable is what it is, but this image is confirmed to be the third project that they're working on. This is the one art or the piece of artwork that leaked from their third project. So this has nothing to do with the potential of it being a Fable game. But it's again, I definitely appreciate your opinion. I do agree with you. I think that we definitely want Fable to be Fable. Fable has to be. I got booed for this a couple of it might have been last year's Emmy. I'm not even sure if you were on the show. I said to the Welsh Gamer, I want Fable to be like The Witcher, and the boo birds came out. Now, granted, I haven't really changed my opinion on that because, quite frankly, The Witcher is a modern day masterpiece. Now, do I want it to be exactly like The Witcher's? No, because I hated, and I say hated, the Witcher inventory system, the making of the potions, the solvent for the swords. I hated all of that shit. It was too overcomplicated, and I did not enjoy it. The game is beautiful, great stories, great side missions, but all that extra shit I hated doing. I wanted to be like Fable. But here's a question that I didn't have in the show notes, and I'm going to get your opinion. I get the chat's opinion on this. Do we need Fable to retain the British type humor, or do we want a different Fable? Take it away, Zemi.
I mean, for me personally, I want them to retain that British humor. I mean, I think it's absolutely fantastic and comical, and it's amazing. I agree with you in certain aspects of what you were saying. I think that they should obviously change up the game a little bit, add in new, gameplay elements, maybe, mix up the combat a little bit. But at its still, at its base, I still want it to be Fable. I still want to go to a brothel and get 12 STDs if I want, right? You know what I mean? Like if I'm really good, I want a halo over my head and some wings to sprout, and if I'm evil, I want big long horns. You know what I mean?
No, that I agree with. I agree.
I don't want it to be confused with any other game. And the reason I say that, and I think I said this the last time you mentioned the Witcher thing. If I want to play Witcher, I'll go play freaking Witcher. Right?
Yes.
If I want to play Fable, I want to play Fable. And I don't want there to be any confusion in my mind of, is this really a Fable game or not? So I definitely want them to keep, I guess that, that lifeblood that is Fable, and in my mind, the lifeblood that is Fable is that quirky British comedy that that comes up in it. So I definitely want them to keep that, and I want them to keep the game as close to Fable as they can, while also being able to mix in their own creativity and make the game better than it has hopefully ever been before.
Well, I mean, look. What you're saying makes perfect sense. And in truth, I'm hoping that this is going to be a game that they're going to build upon with through the addition of story DLC. Like I mean, as much as you want this to be Fable and you want it to retain the humor, and you still want it to be this amazing open world RPG type game. I think the game is going to be big. I think it's going to be much bigger than we could have ever anticipated. In fact, I dare say that it might be as big as maybe I'd like to believe that it could potentially be as big as maybe the first two, maybe all three Fables. Because, Fable, even though it was semi-open world, you had borders. Right, and they were you found the walls you couldn't go past very very easily. Mm-hmm. Again, it was the 360, so they were limited to what they can do in regards to design. But with that said, with the new consoles retaining so much power and so much graphical capabilities, these the worlds that are going to be coming are going to be bigger and better than ever. And I'm hoping that this particular game is going to use all of the advantages of new hardware to, of course, its advantage. Dreadpool, I want to get your opinion on this. Obviously we're kind of bringing this back up. We're kind of sidestepping the third project and kind of talking about Fable, because quite frankly, why not talk about Fable? For you personally, as a fan of the series, do you require Playground Games to retain the British humor, like kicking chickens and such? And and when you do bad, you start to go onto the dark side, and you start to exhibit the bad guy traits of maybe having glowing red eyes or horns sticking out of your head, or even a tail. And or do you think that this should be a reboot where they kind of go crazy and they remove everything that we know and love about Fable and make it their own?
Well, I think it's an insulting question. You should know better than this. Yeah. No, but I know you got to ask. I know you got to, we got to line up these questions properly and have some good answers. And my answer is actually they need to keep it as Fable.
Okay, good.
Old Fable that we need. My thing is, I want Fable 2. The way that they brought Master Chief into Fable, I only played as Master Chief, and I was the Cosmic Stranger. I forgot what they called it. So I played Fable 2 as Master Chief the whole way through. I loved it that way. I think they need to do the same thing. Even with when I decided I was going to play bad, I went back and I started my evil character. And when I started the evil character, I'm thinking in my mind, I'm playing as a Sith. I am learning the ways of the Sith.
That's awesome.
So they the humor, everything that they've done. The only thing was and even Peter Molyneux admitted when they came out with 3, they jumped too far into the future.
I agree with that. Yes.
If they bring it back, and they don't have to continue it, they don't have to do anything with it. Bring us another character right along the same timeline between 1, 2, and 3. Between 2 and 3 would be a good spot because it would give us another area, or they can even do a prequel to bring us to where it started. I'd be okay with that too, because now you're going to have all these champions out there running around, and you can see more of how we got there. But I do want, like I said, I want that slapstick British humor that they have, the dryness of it, everything that they've done in the previous games. They need to keep that humor. That is the most part, to me, that is the soul of the game, is their humor. And then after that, it's just another RPG. You know what I'm saying? You can go good or you can go bad. Isn't that KOTOR? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So there's a lot of that stuff that we don't see, and that goes back to what I was saying before. There are certain games that are before you that you take and you make your own. The style. We've got PUBG that was a mod of another game, which was a mod of another game. You know what I'm saying? So everything leads up to stuff. If we can take this and take the core soul of Fable and make it another person's journey alongside of what was existing. So I'm not saying write it off or any of that stuff. Let's go alongside with what was existing. And if they really want to do it, and I'm sure it's going to take a lot, but go into the people's save files for those that still have the original gameplay of, obviously they'd have, I don't know if they would be able to do it off the Xbox version, but the anniversary edition of the Xbox 360, because you still have access to that. So if you have a cloud save, that they would be able to get into that cloud save and be like, oh, well, this is what happened here, and we can bring up your old character back in with what you played and bring on the new character that you're at now. So you can kind of see your character where it was, whichever one you want. If you had an evil guy, you can, team up as an evil, 2 evils, basically teaming up with yourself or fighting yourself. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that they could do, but it all depends on, is it feasible to get into that depth to bring in the old game? Or is it just, let's just create another timeline right alongside the exact same one and just keep going? That would be the easiest way and still encompass all 3 games. Maybe not to the level of 3, but between 1, 2, and like 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying is super, super interesting. And if they could use your save file, which I have on my Xbox One X because I've played the anniversary edition. I actually just beat it. I think I beat it last year. Again, I've beaten that game half a dozen times, and I really enjoy playing it. So, if they could somehow use that would actually be pretty insane. Real quick, I have to thank Aiden Williams with the outstanding and very generous $2 super chat. He says, "What's up, brother? Glad I could make the show. I too could make the show." Well, yeah, thanks. Appreciate it, you being here. And of course, thank you for your generosity. And George Zayas, my brother from another mother, drops a $2 super chat and says, "Congrats on the record-breaking live chat, which has now crossed Zemi." This is insane. 972 people in chat. This doesn't even seem. This is not. Oh, am I in a dream? Is this crazy that we're closing in on 1,000 people tuning in?
Wake up, Boom! Wake up!
Jesus, I mean, listen. I don't think I'm worthy of such accolades, but I will take them with open arms. Now, look. Obviously, we can talk about Fable until the cows come home, or literally until Fable releases. This has been a fantastic particular topic. Now, we are officially 1 hour and 29 minutes into the show. Now, this show was originally supposed to run only 60 minutes. I kind of moved it up to 90. If you guys have the time and you're willing to kind of just put forth another 30 minutes, I have another topic in my back pocket that I've been trying to talk about for 2 weeks already, and I finally found some time to talk about it. Are you willing to, can you guys hang out for a little bit?
Oh, yeah. I can hang out. No problem.
What about you, Zemi?
Yep.
Okay, so here we go. This is topic number 4 for the record-breaking Xbox Factor podcast. Now, if there is one very sore spot for Phil Spencer, the Xbox platform, and the millions of Xbox fans, it still has to be the Scalebound incident from January of 2017. And thanks to someone that's on the panel, Dreadpool, who sent me another fantastic article. Thank you. Appreciate it. Didn't realize you were going to be here as I was thanking you, but thank you, Dreadpool, for sending me this article regarding some new reports on the failed project that has come to light. And what's interesting about this new evidence is it clearly puts the blame squarely on the shoulders of Platinum Games studio lead. I'm going to butcher this poor man's name, Hideki Kamiya. Yeah, I think it's what it is. If I butchered the name, I'm terrible with names. I apologize. Now, I'm going to say this. When speaking to anyone, mostly Xbox gamers don't blame Phil Spencer for the game not releasing. I am going to be the first one to tell you that I was ultra excited for the potential of Scalebound. It has a lot to do with I've always imported a lot of my consoles. I've always enjoyed playing a lot of Japanese type games. Panzer Dragoon, one of my favorite Saturn titles of all time. Actually, it's a great shooter, but it's one of my favorite titles of all time. And to have that kind of gameplay realized into what they were talking about with Scalebound, I was extremely disappointed. But the reason why I bring up this, the new evidence, if you will, on the cancellation is ultimately it was canceled due to the failings of Platinum Games as a developer. And a lot of people, and there were some people in the community that blamed Phil Spencer personally for not being more, I guess, critically involved in the project. Like they gave Platinum a bunch of money and it said, make this. And, we do know for a fact that Platinum Games was, at the time that they were supposed to be doing Scalebound, were working on multiple projects. I think it was 3 at the same time as Scalebound. And again, I don't know. I no one's written a book yet, so I can't confirm it. But a lot of people, a lot of insiders, a lot of industry insiders, and of course journalists have suggested in the past that the money that Microsoft was paying Platinum to make this game, they kind of used in the development of other games. And it makes sense why there might be a bit of a strange relationship between Platinum and Microsoft currently. Now, the reason why this has come to light once again and why this is making the news is because in what I consider to be a damning declaration in who is truly responsible for Scalebound being canceled and likely never to be reconsidered for release is a former Platinum developer who has come out to tell his tale of confusion, mismanagement, and failure at Platinum Games, which is tremendous. Now, in a recent wonderful 101 live stream celebration, Mr. Kayama, Platinum's resident in-your-face developer, was kind of boxed. He was a little drunk, and he made a joke about Scalebound's cancellation, and he said, and I quote, "I want to make Scalebound, email Microsoft ASAP. Phil Spencer, I'm sending you an email." And again, he was drunk, and obviously the Scalebound situation has been brought to light because of the ex-producer. Now, in response to this joke, ex-Platinum Games developer who didn't find it funny had this to say. In fact, he went public regarding the statement from the developer lead at Platinum Games. And this is what he had to say. "We had our chance to make Scalebound. We failed. They know why we failed. Lots of great people left after we failed, some because we failed. I'm sad that has now become a drunken meme. Former Platinum Games developer Jean Paris Kelms said live on Twitter, I have enormous respect for all of the hard work everyone put into Scalebound. I am happy that the wonderful 101 Kickstarter was successful, and I wish Platinum Games all the best. But Scalebound was a joy, and success and happiness and pain and failures and tears. I'd love to see it be made. It's just not a joke to me. Okay, here we go. As we cross 1,000 people watching live, which is unbelievable to me. And yeah, listen, let me throw this out there. And this is going to be so cheapy, Charlie. I apologize in advance. And I get scolded by people when I don't ask for this. If you're new, I say welcome, virtual hug, virtual fist bump. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here. Okay? If you are new to the channel, I am a gamer. I've been gaming since 1978, and I love gaming, and I love this. More importantly than gaming, I love this community. Please hit the subscribe button. Let me try and get to that 4,000 mark before. I was actually hoping to get to 5,000 before E3. I don't know if I'm going to make it, but if you are enjoying the content, hit the like button because it doesn't hurt. It don't cost you anything, and consider subscribing to the channel. Look at all the content. I guarantee you're going to find something that you like. But getting back to the topic, I had to get the work related crap out of the way. Zemi Games, look, Scalebound is a sore spot. It's one that when you talk about it, it enrages a lot of Xbox gamers because a lot of people were looking forward to this game and they feel like Platinum let them down. And I love Platinum. I think that they make amazing games, and I'm going to still support them because I really like. They have a certain way of making games that I enjoy. Now, and their games are very Japanese, and maybe they're not for everyone, but they are for me. I'm an old school Macross kind of a guy, so when I play a lot of their games, it reminds me of Robotech. And that's very Japanese. Some people won't get it. I hear you. But when you hear an ex-employee coming out and being so forceful, so thought-provoking in his wording that he's using, blaming Platinum Games and saying publicly they know why we failed, well, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, boom, as I'm getting into my old age, I've started to come to believe that, blaming things on just blaming things off on something else is just pointless, right?
Right.
Because the people that are involved, usually they're just trying to avoid accountability, and the people that are not involved just want to make themselves feel better. But 99% of the time, I think that both parties are at fault in some way, or in some ways or another. On one side, you could say that Microsoft should have known better than to trust them. You could say Microsoft should have kept a closer eye on Platinum Games, or maybe you could say that Platinum Games should have used their resources better, or maybe the lead developer was slacking, or God only knows, right? You could play this game all day 24/7 and never find a solution, right? So, ultimately, I think like my takeaway from this, and I think the main takeaway is that, a lot of people still want this game to happen at the end of the day, right? There's still a lot of excitement around this. Yes. Xbox has a huge interest in getting, this game, potentially, hopefully made, because they have a huge interest in that Asian market, and that would definitely assist them in that, right? I guess, at the end of the day, because I don't really want to get into, is this true? Is this not true? We'd be here all day. Even if they did write a book, we would still be debating, if this person's lying or if this person's telling the truth, right? But I think like the main, takeaway is that, hopefully Platinum Games has grown as a company, and they are, not doing any shady, tactics if they were using Microsoft money to fund other projects. And if that isn't the case, hopefully they are, better at meeting deliverables, on time. And hopefully Microsoft has also walked away from this learning, maybe they should spend a little bit more time researching, who they get to work for them. You know, and,
Well,
and,
this
and
was, you got to remember, this was a very different Microsoft, right?
it was.
This is pre. I believe, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, please tell me. I believe this was pre promotion. Phil Spencer. You know, I still think he was in the position where of Matt Booty, so he was ultimately responsible for what the failings. But this was also a very, very differently run Microsoft when we had the
Yeah.
human roadblock.
Yeah.
Running the show where Phil was unable to get any movement.
Yeah, I mean, and it was also a Microsoft, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's also a Microsoft that, really at that point in this generation hadn't really released a lot of first party games, and they were extremely weak,
Yes.
with their first party lineup. And
Yes.
so I could imagine that maybe they did have some hesitations about going after Playground Games, but they took the chance because they were desperate and they wanted to get more first party games out. I mean, that's another possibility, but that's, once again, we're just getting back into the blame game. But hopefully Microsoft is I mean, well, we know that Xbox is in a lot better of a position now than they were back then. So, hopefully this never happens again. They research who they have working for them more going in the future. And maybe even, hopefully try to have any of their, games that they're wanting to get developed, have that done in-house. That way they, have a little bit more control over, delays and not having cancellations if possible. Because I think, I could be wrong, but, I think for you and me, we kind of share the same, idea on this, that we both want, Scalebound to be a thing.
Me too.
But we definitely want Xbox to create it.
Well,
with their own studio.
Right. Well, that's a great point. What Microsoft has going for them is they own the IP.
Yes.
They own all the assets. So let's just say right now it's a little bit too new, if you will, to kind of want to, make an announcement they're working on it. Platinum Games has publicly said that they would love to work with Microsoft again and get it done. I don't think Microsoft would, would do it. I don't think that they would. I don't think they would be so trusting as to do it again. I do think, though, that this is an IP that has, when you talk about it, it sparks tremendous interest. And you and I both on the ingredients that maybe 5 years from now, they revisit this and they allow someone like a Platinum Games. Maybe they allow someone, like a Ninja Theory to do Scalebound. Again, this is just complete speculation, and I'll make a topic on this in a couple of years when we're kind of, just poking fun at the potential of Scalebound coming back. But all they have to do is talk about it real quick. I just want to catch up on the super chats. First of all, Spider-Man drops a $2 super chat and says, PS5 reveal tomorrow will show the logo comes in color. Come on, don't troll, dude. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. It's going to be in white and black, but I think we're going to get more than that. Smitty Smith drops a $2 super chat and he says, congratulations, Boom, Zemi, and Dreadpool on 1,000. Yes, thank you for that. JD Gamer continues the congratulations with an additional $2 super chat and says, congratulations, Boom, Zemi, you are over 1,000. Yes, I am blue. And listen, here's Digital Hif 109. He drops a $2 super chat. Thank you for being here. But what's important is that congrats on 1K. He just subbed. So thank you for that. Super appreciate that generosity, you being here. And I hope that you're going to enjoy the content. JD Gamer, once again, completely blowing me out of the water with his outstanding generosity. He drops another $2 super chat and says, hit that like button. Let's get these guys over 1,000. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I am just blown away. So there's all the super chats. Dreadpool, I want to get your opinion on this because you've been on the show several times. You've actually bailed me out more times than I have fingers to count. So of course I love having you on the show because of how many times you've helped out. But I don't know your personal opinion regarding Scalebound. So I'm interested in two things. One, do you want to see Scalebound made? And two, did you feel a type of way when it was canceled?
I did want to see Scalebound. It was interesting. It wasn't really my type of game. I'm not a Monster Hunter type of player, but it was interesting. I wanted to see it, to see what it would make difference. I mean, you're able to jam out and beat up some monsters, and they were huge. So it wasn't just. I mean, there were like, to me, it was like I was Boba Fett and I'm getting ready to go to, kill a mythosaur. You know, those things are as big as a city. So I was like, okay, this is maybe I can get into this. So yeah, it was disappointing to see it go out like that. They needed that. I'd be fine if they gave it to somebody else to take the assets, maybe use it as a reference. They might with where they were back then and where we are now with the Series X. The graphics might not be quite where they need to be, or maybe the game wasn't quite there. I mean, obviously there was mismanagement of money. They didn't steal money. It was just mismanaged. Microsoft didn't follow through, and Xbox now will. So when it comes to something like that, I want to see it. There are other, just because it's not my game doesn't mean it's not for somebody else. And there was a lot of hype behind it. Yeah. So why not? Myself, if it was me and I was giving somebody money to do something like that, and come to find out they mismanaged the money, well, and it was still I still have to eat it. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't on top of being on top of them to make sure that they were actually properly doing everything. And I think that's why, and I know I'm kind of drifting off to the side, but I think that's why Xbox, Phil Spencer is going there to Japan to work on building a studio. Yes. I think that's what he's trying to build, an office there, because from my understanding, we can't just buy a company there. So he's got to get in there, work with the devs, see if he can create a Japan company of Microsoft. Of Xbox. That's something that and then they can go out and buy devs, and then they can do something more than just hire second party devs for us. So with that being said, I kind of want to bury them. You screwed up. Why did you take the money and run? You know what I mean? They had no money. They were drowning, and they needed more time. They needed more money, but yet they put out these other games that were like in a matter of no time. Yeah. So to me, they took the money. Yes, they didn't steal it. It was given to them. They just mismanaged it. And Microsoft at that time wasn't really watching over their money and what it was. They were misled, maybe. Were they lied to? Possibly. But we don't know all the facts. But if it was me and that came out, I would have been like, I'm gonna write up everything and bury you guys so bad. But as you said before, with Phil Spencer at the beginning of the show, I mean, I know it wasn't on the show, I was listening, but at the beginning of the show, it shows you Phil Spencer and the direction Xbox is going with human compassion.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They took the higher ground. At the time, yeah, I really wanted to bury him. But now, looking back at it, somebody with a cooler mind thinking about it and be like, you know what? Let this one go. Yes, we lost the money. It was we'll eat it. It was our fault. Now we're a new organization from within as Microsoft Game Studios. So we'll let that one go. We ate it. We'll take the higher ground. We'll move on. Now they need to take that and give it to somebody else that's worthy of their money to make a game worthy for us to play.
Well, I am going to say this. I still am in the belief that they are looking for a particular Japanese studio. I am still in the belief, and I'm going to be the one. I'm going to get out there with my flag and be waving it back and forth. Say, I freaking told you so. If I were Microsoft, and going back, of course, on my personal beliefs, what I think they're doing currently, because we know that Phil in the last 18 months has been to Japan at least a dozen times, maybe more. Maybe I miscounted. It could be a little less, but I'm pretty sure that it's more than a dozen times. What I think they're doing in Japan, especially because xCloud is around the corner of its full release, And notoriously, the Asian market has not been good for Xbox. And currently, in both Korea and, of course, in Japan, the mobile market reigns supreme. What I think is going to happen is they're going to build an initiative level quadruple A Japanese studio from the ground up, using and acquiring the talents of many of the Japanese developers that we all know and love, and build that studio from within that region so it has roots in Japan. And they will, of course, then potentially, again, this is all speculation, potentially give that studio the Scalebound license. And here's the reason why. If they did that, they would be making the game in the Japanese flavor that we all know and love. At least I love that. And it would be the way we expected Platinum Games to bring their flavor of the Japanese, action RPG to the Xbox. Again, complete speculation, folks. Complete speculation. But this is what half of me thinks is going to happen, and the other 50% prays that it does. Now, again, as we cross. Oh, and we got 411. We got 4 ones live in the chat. 1,111 folks tuned in for this very small show. And literally, folks, that's a third of my subs. That's insane. That is absolutely, absolutely insane. And I am so grateful and humbled by today's success. You have no idea. I hope that this same passion and excitement for my shows comes on an everyday basis, because I love entertaining and I love talking and working with this community, walking hand in hand and just talking about games. So as we get on out of here, Dreadpool drops a $5 super chat and says over 1,110. Let's all hit that like button if you enjoyed the show. And yes, of course, I highly encourage, if you do not like what I'm talking, if you do not like what The Rock is cooking, hit the thumbs down button. It's your choice. I'm not going to be mad at you. If you didn't like today's show, well, listen, the show may not be for everyone. But of course, I want to thank the 1,113 people live here. You have really humbled me as an old man today who's going to be 50 in September. I never, in my wildest imagination, thought that I could come to the YouTube game so late and have this kind of raging success. And I really thoroughly, from the bottom of my heart, want to thank you for supporting Double Barrel Gaming. I hope that you enjoyed enough that you will come back. I hope you enjoyed enough that you will sub. And of course, again, if you did like it, hit the like button. So let's get everyone out of here. Zemi Games, I love the fact that you are now a main cog, a co-host, if you will, in, of course, the Xbox Factor podcast. Having you on each and every week and on many of my shows has been a real treat for me, because I love the passion and excitement that you have, and I just really enjoy you as a human being, as a friend. I want to say thank you so much for being here on this record-breaking day. But more importantly, tell everyone where they can follow you, and of course, check out your outstanding and ridiculously growing YouTube channel.
Well, thank you so much, Boom, and I appreciate it, man. And huge congratulations on I mean, these numbers, man. I mean, they're just absolutely incredible, and you put in so much hard work. So I can't think of anybody else that I think would definitely deserve this, man. So huge congratulations. And if you guys want to, you guys can definitely go check out my YouTube channel. It's called Zimmy Games. I do a bunch of gaming content, gaming news, reviews, tutorials, all sorts of stuff like that. So, definitely check out my channel. Once again, it's called Zimmy Games. You guys can also follow me on Twitter. It is at Zimmy Games. I'm slowly becoming more active on there.
Yes.
I'm trying.
You certainly have been tweeting more. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. I'm trying. I'm trying my best. I'm getting a little bit more active on there. But my DMs are also always open, and I always look forward to any community, any community members sending me a message, wanting to talk about games, and listening to the show. If maybe you heard an opinion that you agreed with me, or maybe you disagreed with me, feel free to send me a message, and I'd love to talk to you about it. I love hearing different opinions. I think that's the main reason as we, or the main way that we grow as people is, listening to other people's opinions and responding and just getting in, some amazing discussions. So feel free to send me a message if you want. And thank you so much, Boom. It was a fantastic show.
Well, thank you again for being here. And of course, Dreadpool, great to have you on today. Obviously, you are always welcome on any of the shows that I do. You have been a huge help in the past, and I'm glad that you were able to make it today. Do me a favor, dude. You are a sleuth on the interwebs. You're always dropping amazing stories. A lot of the times I've missed them. Please tell everyone where they can follow you on Twitter and maybe speak about anything else you got going on.
Okay, well, you can find me. First of all, I actually want to congratulate you for today.
Thank you, dude. Appreciate it.
It's awesome, And for those, it's an inside joke. For those who know, I'm 2 for 2 now.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
So anyway, yeah. Well, my DMs are always open. I chat with everybody. So I try to, with the hours I work, I talk to whoever whenever I can.
Yes.
But if anybody ever wants to just talk about anything to get it off your chest, I'm here to listen. I may not respond right away, and I may not always have the right answer, but I will definitely listen to you and try to help out. You know what I'm saying? Maybe just be an ear for somebody to get something off their chest. And with what's going on these past few weeks and what's going to be happening for the next few months at the way that this is going, I am here. If you want, DM me. We'll go, we'll work it out, So you'll find me on Twitter at Dreadpool, and the O's are actually zeros. And then after that, it's all caps and letters. Okay. So it's YouTube, Mixer, my gamer tag, and Stadia. It's all Dreadpool.
Nice.
So I appreciate you having me on. I love the show and the community that's in the chat. So by far, I got to thank the chat for coming in and stopping in to listen and create the community that exceeded 1,115 viewers today.
I'm going to have to sit back and kind of rock a little bit and kind of absorb once the show is done. But real quick, before we get on out of here, there's someone in the chat that I think everyone needs to know about. And his name is Jay. And he is the owner of Graphic God Productions. And if you've seen the intros and outros that I do, those incredible pieces of living artwork have been produced by Jay. As a matter of fact, he is one of the few people that when I started this YouTube journey on November 3rd of 2017, reached out his hand and helped this old man kind of figure out a lot of new school stuff. And his talent to finding something that you like and making it into living, working art is in itself an art form. But besides that, his humanity is which is for me anyway, the shiniest part of his being, and his skill level when it comes to creating original artwork for your YouTube channel, for your Twitch channel, for Twitter is second to none. His prices are extremely affordable. And I got to tell you, look at the screen right now. I highly recommend not only you follow the Graphic God on Twitter, you head over to xboxgamerpicks.com and even throw him a DM if you're interested in having work done where you want an original avatar that just screams you as a gamer. Hit him up. His prices are very reasonable, and he works with you until you as a customer are happy. But let me get on out of here. Let me get everybody on out of here. As we cross the 2-hour mark for today's record-breaking Xbox Factor podcast. And I want to close up the show with something that I do almost every show, and it's something that my dad taught me when I was a real small kid. First and foremost, treat others how you want to be treated. And the other thing that I like to throw in there that he taught me is he used to tell me, he used to say, Craig, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. And I can guarantee you that if you live by these rules, you are going to have one hell of an awesome day. Once again, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and we will see you this Thursday on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. Take care, everyone. God bless, and be safe.